Are you thinking about selling a home? Are you looking to sell your home? And do you want the most money in the shortest time possible? Well, stand by and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Hey, my name is Eric. My call sign is Nuke. I'm a retired Air Force officer and I live here in Las Vegas. And my goal is to make sure people have the best experience possible when buying or selling a house. So this comes up so many times about wanting to get the most money for your house. Of course you do. Everyone does. So here's the tip for you. If you want the most money possible, do not overprice your house. Now, I know some people want to sit there and go like, oh, well, what I need to do is price it high. You know, I can always come down. No, that does not always work. I want to give you a cautionary tale real quick here about two houses. So house number one, the seller wanted to price it high so they can always come down later. Well, when it came down to the price that it should be, it got more showings. It was way more showings than it had before, which was nothing, but it wasn't swift. And still, even at the day of this recording, no offers. Now, it hasn't been on the market that long, but I want you to compare that against the second house. The second house is actually one where I'm representing the buyer, where we got the house a few days ago. It had 15 offers in the first day. Now, that's not unusual in this day and age. What was the difference between house one and house two? House one, they wanted to overprice the house and say it can always come down later. House two was properly priced to begin with. Every time, especially over the last few years, that a house is properly priced, it gets more offers. It gets multiple offers. The market does not care what you want for your house or what you need to move to buy your next house. What they see is what's marketable, the market value. And then, for some odd reason that I cannot explain, they lose their dang minds and then pay more. It's a science, a magic no one understands. Okay, so let's talk about house two. The seller on that one, I met today. We were doing a home inspection. And my buyer and the seller, they were just talking. And it came about one thing that really sparked this, which is actually the impetus for this video. The very first person who came to see the house, she was still there. The individual got on their knees in front of her and started crying and begging her to let him have the house. And she was talking about how, emotional it was for her. But when it's all said and done, it doesn't matter how much emotion there's a bottom line. If someone offers you X amount over what your house is worth, and another person offers you X plus 10, 20, 30, most people are going to take the X plus 10, 20, 30. It doesn't matter what the pleas are. I can remember going to a house with a buyer last summer, and the seller was telling me a story about how a lady just plopped herself down on the bed in the owner's suite. We're not supposed to say master bedroom anymore. And she just started crying and she refused to get up, and her husband's like, we have to go. It's like, no, I'm not leaving. I have to have this house. My clients wanted the house too. We bid $65,000 over list price. We didn't get it because somebody bid higher than that. That's the reality of the market we're in. But if that house was overpriced, we never would have come to see it. Now, about a year ago, I talked about what I call the doll house. It was the most perfect house I'd ever seen. Almost even till today, everything in that house was 100% perfect. Nothing wrong. These were the most meticulous people I've ever run across. I looked that house up and down. There was nothing wrong with it. You know what? It never sold. Do you know why? It was overpriced. There were no lines outside. Maybe I could find a video one day. I did this one that time when I was going to a house for an out-of-town buyer. I had to pan around and show him the line of people outside. They didn't line up for an overpriced house. They lined up for a house that was right priced. And yet, for some odd reason, they'll then bid it up. So, do you want the most money for your house in the least amount of time? Price it right to begin with. You cannot underprice a house in this market. You know what? I guarantee this, but no one will probably take me up on it. You go out there and you will list a house for $1. Figure out what the market value of that house is. I guarantee you're going to get more than the house is worth. It will not appraise for what you'll get for that house. But take that same house and overprice it, you'll get a big, fat goose egg. So the moral of this story is, for some odd reason, the same greed that makes one person want to overprice their house, saying they want to get the most possible, and they can always come down later, but they can never go up. Although I have seen people raise their prices and do it successfully, believe it or not. The same thing that causes that causes the buyers not to come. And yet, when it's right priced, for some odd reason, they'll pay more. Another story. I was talking to some members on the ALC. We're actually debating about the house that I have that right now is, just finally got right priced. And one of the people mentioned that they were having the exact same issue that I was having. When they lowered the price to the price that it needed to be, remember, before, they were getting no showings, no action. First weekend that they lowered the price, 10 showings. Out of those 10 showings, 5 offers. Of those 5 offers, all were above the list price. Not going to get this one. You ready for it? Of those 5 offers, 2 were at the original price the seller wanted. That is the power of the herd. So never, ever overprice your house. Let me tell you the number one mistake that you're ever going to make when trying to price a house. When you say, I want a certain price. If that price is above what the market is ready to bear, you've probably already lost. Now, it's easily recoverable. As long as you get that price to where it needs to be within 3 weeks. That is your limit, 3 weeks, no more. The faster you course correct, the more money you'll get. There are actually some statistics from the National Association of Realtors that show that people who overprice their houses get less money in the long run than people who properly price their houses. We're not talking about the other stuff like continuing to pay a mortgage and bills and everything else. No. Because you have tainted your house by keeping it on the market too long. It has sunk to the bottom of a pond. So do not do that. And the number one thing that you must do is, if you look down and you see a red subscribe button, you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that if you believe I've given you a little bit of value today and helped you out in your journey. Also, click that like button. And I've got some other videos here that I would love for you to look at, because it really helps out the channel and it helps you out, because I try to drop hot fire and hot truth every week.